happening in the world of footy. We have a jam-packed show for you tonight. Hutchie, good evening to you. What's coming up?
Hello, Becca. Good evening, everyone. Tonight is all about Gary Ablett and his future. The Suns champion joins us exclusively to set the score and tell us straight what's going on with his future in football.
Can't wait for that, Hutchie. Well, Alex Rance and Lee Kernahan, they pick up a very important passenger. Six Kernahan, will he recreate that moment outside Norton's Hotel singing Stand By Your Man?
What a missed you around that. What about this man? Game 250. We pay our respects tonight to one of the modern-day greats, Lance Buddy Franklin.
And Sam Newman, would you believe he's turned Cupid? He reckons he has the hottest bachelor in town for the Smash Hit show, Married at First Sight. Can't wait for that, Hutchie. All right, before we get to all of that, we need to get our esteemed panel out. So please give your best footy show welcome for Brendan Goddard from the Essendon Footy Club, Heath Shaw from the Giants, and Hawthorn legend Shane Crawford.
Well, welcome, boys. Very mild-mannered panel too with BJ and Heath. We'll get to that very soon.
Calm.
Good to have Shane back in the house. As to our next man, who's done this for 25 years. I must say, Becca, we have never seen this man as focused.
I know.
As angry.
Angry, pent up, isn't he?
Perturbed about an unusual situation.
We haven't seen him all day.
Vanished all day, and it concerns his angst surrounding, of all things, the drinking ban of Dan Hanbury at the Sydney Swans. He's got a bee in his bonnet. We'll find out more. Ladies and gentlemen, football great, television icon, John Sammy Newman.
That's it.
Fossil or High Pants?
Going with the
Captain High Pants.
If you're watching this, camel look.
Just, yeah, got it. It's,
Righto.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What are you doing?
If you've just come off a bender, you're watching this at home, or you're having trouble with alcohol, look away now, because we're making no apology. We're going to get Dan Hanbury pierced. It's the panacea to him resurrecting his year. He's been off the grog and it's doing him no good at all. So we make no apology. It's politically incorrect. Bet responsibly and drink even more responsibly, but not if you're watching tonight. We want to get him legless.
We're going to get to that.
We need to get Sam Hanbury's breath, because we're out of breath. Have a drink.
We're going to get to that a little bit later on. For those who haven't been across it, Dan Hanbury not drinking at the moment, not playing in his best.
Self-imposed ban.
Yep, you get your breath there, Foss.
No, he's got to drink that. Bob Hawke would smash that down. You smash that down.
Just to clarify.
Yeah, no, we need to.
I think we'll get to that a little bit later on. You haven't had a drink in 7 years. Not one drink in 7 years.
Even more reason to have a go.
More on that a little bit later on. More on that a
We're
little
not
later
allowed
on.
to drink on air, we're not allowed to smoke on air, and
Oh,
someone
God.
said we're not allowed to take drugs on air.
We'll get to that a little bit later. Welcome to Brendan and Heath and Shane. Stick around, it could be interesting television. The big story in football is Gary Ablett. He'll join us in a short period of time to tell us about his future. Heath, you were in that game on the weekend where he struggled. What was your view from inside the arena of his body language and the way he played the game?
I suppose, when I'm playing, I didn't really notice him as much in his body language. But when it's a 100-point loss, we've all been involved in it. It is hard to keep yourself going for 4 quarters when you're getting flogged like that. So I'm sure he'll bounce back this week.
BJ, you're just looking at that vision there. What are your thoughts?
Well, Gaz has set such a high standard, and probably to his detriment, we now expect a lot from Gary. So when you see instances like that, it's not a regularity, or it's not a pattern of behaviour. We're sure it's a one-off thing. So been a champion of the game. So
it's been an unbelievable reaction to one game, and the critics, which we'll play a bit later on, have been vast across our industry. Has the commentary been accurate? Did he look as disinterested as many say that he did?
Oh, well, I think sure he touched on it. When you're losing by 100 points, I don't think anyone's looks well when you're losing by that kind of margin. But yeah, I think the reaction to it all's been a bit too much. And yes, Sam.
I've been involved in a couple of 100-point losses
We
when
all
I
have.
played, and could talk about disinterested. I was the captain in one of the teams when we got beaten in 1976 or 74, and I said I'd wish to leave the ground at three-quarter time. I didn't want to be a part of it. And the coach said, no, you're the captain, stay on the ground. Why would you, someone will say, oh, because you get paid a lot of money to do it. When you're 100 points down, there's 20 minutes to go, what would be the point of flogging yourself to death?
No, I think you got to fight right to the end.
I knew you were going to say that.
No, but I feel for Gary Ablett because he's had one bad game, really, and he's come back from a long-term injury and hasn't played a lot of footy. So there's every chance that he was sore from the week before and he's trying to get through the match. But at the end of the day, you've got to fight, right? Fight it out regardless of the scoreboard.
Maybe.
No.
Well,
Yes, you do.
we'll be analysing his body language a little bit later on. And of course, we've got Gary Ablett coming on not very long from now. But we've got two body experts basically on the panel. It's very fortuitous that we've got Brendan Goddard and Heath Shaw on the panel tonight because you also have some body language issues. Let's take a look. Just giving it to your captain there. And pulling Dyson's hair.
It's all love there.
BJ,
All
what's
love.
going on with that? They're irresistible, those dreadlocks. And the runner cops it as well from Heath. I mean, seriously, what did the runner do wrong?
What'd you say there?
Fine displays of body language, gentlemen.
Yeah, it's the heat of the moment, and we all play with passion.
Do you get embarrassed when you look at that back, or do you think it's part of the theatre of the game?
Yeah, it's probably part of the theatre a little bit, but I do get embarrassed the way I carry on like a little toddler at times.
Well, Sam, you always prided yourself on your body language. You've always had exemplary body language.
Very controlled,
I mean, here's some example of your, very even-tempered, mild-mannered, meaningful response to the men in white. You'd always took it fairly easy on anyone around you.
What did you say, Sid?
Well, I said... I said another disgraceful decision. And I was pointing out why it was disgraceful. And I got 3 weeks for that.
And rightly so.
Got an extra one for the haircut, probably, too, as well.
Now, Hutchie, you can't talk about body language. Have a look at you interviewing Jared Ruffhead. Look at that.
That's disinterested. You cannot say anything to Gary Ablett tonight, Hutchie. You have to sit that interview out.
Looks like you were having a crap.
Concentrating.
That's what it looked like.
Brendan, hey, just want to say congratulations because Essendon only won 3 games last year and you're already at 2 and zip, so well done. So if you win one more...
2/3 of the way there.
You're going well, you're going well. Is the feeling different? You feel good?
Yeah, we do. Obviously, everyone returning and then starting off well, but got to keep a lid on things. Just 2-0. 21 more weeks to go, Sam.
I would celebrate big time now already.
We celebrate the wins,
Don't
as
keep a
everyone
lid
should.
on it now, mate. I'd go berserk right now, in case it stops this week.
Brendan,
Yeah.
you're not captain anymore, but I don't know if you've actually come to the realisation of that because you seem to be directing traffic on the ground a lot. This is 2 weeks ago against fantastic mark by Dyson Heppel that goes back, wants to kick it, and you're here in that circle going, directing traffic, not confident that Heppel could kick the goal, were you?
I know.
What are you telling him?
I did not think the captain had it in him, and then just as you went back to kick it, there was this big gust of wind.
And then what did you say to him here?
The old bag hug scenario, got back over to him, and then I said, mate, I didn't think you had that in you, so well done.
At least you didn't go over and pull his hair again. If you're going to pull anyone's hair, pull the opposition's hair.
No, Sam.
How's your hair going?
It's ordinary, Shane, but it's coming
I think
back.
you look good, Sam.
Hey,
I think you look good.
That's a good.
Heath, welcome again to you. The big story, let you two talk privately, the big story at the Giants this week has been the 9-year, $9 million offer from the North Melbourne Football Club to Josh Kelly, who's a young, precocious talent. How do you not take that offer? And how do you spend the year with that hanging over your head?
Yeah, it is. It's a tough one for a 22-year-old kid to sort of get his head around. 9 years, $9 million. That's some solid cash. And like,
would you take it if you were him?
I took it 4 years ago, so that was an easy decision for me. But it's hard because he's a young kid. He's only 22. He's shown a lot in his 4 years. He's been at the club. He's in the leadership group.
What did you say to him when that came out? Did you grab him and say, how are we going to play this? Or what advice did you give him?
I just said to him, mate, to be honest, I'd rather you stay because you're in the locker next to me and you're really neat, you're pretty boring, you don't really say much. You put up with me, so I was like, I'd prefer you to stay. I don't want to have to do the whole process of getting a new guy next to me and, you know, that small talk you have with the guy in the morning when you're like, hey, going, mate? Yeah, good, yeah, all that stuff. So I'd prefer him to stay, definitely.
They sound very close at the Giants, don't they? Well, Phil Davis is pretty confident that he will stay. I mean, it's just impossible that he could move. Phil Davis said on his Twitter, we just let him do his thing and his form clearly shows he's having a great start. He's got a dog now and he loves Sydney, so he couldn't possibly move with the dog.
Keep him, wouldn't it?
You can move with the dog.
Yeah, you can move anywhere with a dog, I'm pretty sure. But it might keep. It might be a Sydney dog, so he might have to stay for love or something. I don't know.
One thing I think he got right is have a look at this. This is about you, Heath. Phil Davis says Heath Shaw is actually a psycho. Is that what's he going on about there?
That's an interesting looking photo too. No, well, I think Phil's been on the end of a couple of those Nick Maxwell sprays as well, so he's front and centre of all that sort of thing, and it's pretty accurate.
Big week in Sydney for Buddy Franklin. We'll pay tributes to him a little bit later on in game 250. Can you clear up a football urban fable, I think the word, or myth for us? Is it true that you thought Buddy was going to sign at the Giants on the same day you signed? And indeed, his announcement at Sydney came about half an hour before yours to the Giants did. So you were shocked that he didn't come for one. And two, that they gave you extra money and some of his money as part of that in the next half an hour.
There's elements of truth there. I thought he was going to the Giants, and I'd met with the Giants, and they were fairly confident that he was coming to them.
So you made your decision around him going, yeah? It was all about him going there?
No, it was all about the money, but he's a pretty handy player. But it was like I had a meeting with the Giants, and literally half an hour after I walked out, it all broke, and then the phone started ringing again. And
so you topped the offer up another couple hundred.
Yeah, the manager was throwing some big numbers at me, and yeah, it was a pretty easy decision after that.
He's a bit sharper than he looks, Sam. Heath.
What's a big number?
Pinned him for an extra $150,000, $200,000 a year in the next half an hour.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be hard to look sharper than he. No, it's a very good decision.
Let's have a look at this.
Conditions apply, though, to those big contracts, don't they? They don't just give you the money. You've got to, you know, there's a lot of conditions riding on it, isn't there?
Yeah.
Illness, injury, form.
Behaviour?
No, none?
Behaviour? No, I don't think so. I just signed on the dotted line. I didn't really...
He doesn't read the contract.
I didn't read it.
He just saw the numbers.
Yeah, I looked at the numbers and just signed straight away. But,
I think he's lived up to the numbers, Heath, no doubt about it, Sam. Let's have a look at the Sydney and Collingwood game tomorrow night at the SCG. It's going to be a ripper, this game of football. Neither team has had a win yet. It's Buddy's 250th. It's D-Day in this season for the Swans. The record of none of the three teams is poor in making the final series. And the big story in this game is the pressure on Nathan Buckley with the draw that he's got at the start of the season. And it will be a fascinating night for the Collingwood Football Club. 9-2, both of these teams. It'll be absolutely magnificent football at the SCG, Shane.
Yeah, it's going to be a ripping game. I think we're going to have a look at Buddy here, 250 games. What an incredible player he has been. It's very rare for players to be able to do things like that. That is just absolutely remarkable. And whether or not you're playing with him or against him, he just makes football exciting. He really does. Even makes training exciting. He's a rare talent. He's going to go down as one of them. We wish him all the very best. And this is just one of the all-time great goals. I feel sorry if you have to chase him because he does go like lightning, but to be able to kick it at the height that he is, and to be able to nail those is just remarkable. So, well done to Buddy. We wish him all the very best, and I'm sure he'll play very well. Collingwood have been playing really good football. They just cannot kick the football. Yeah. So the effort's there. They just need to improve their disposal, but I think the Swans in a close one.
Yeah, obviously both teams zipping two, and at the SCG, the Swans are going to be hard to beat, and I think Buddy will have a big day.
I think the Pies will put in a good performance again, a strong performance, but Sydney will be too good in the end. Buddy will kick a bag.
A lot of chat about Nathan Buckley. Will he last the distance, last the year? Now, I don't know.
Supporters want him.
I don't know if you are cognizant of this fact, Craig or Becca, that I know Eddie Maguire.
Oh, you do?
I do. And he is a man of his word. His word is his bond. If Nathan Buckley doesn't last the year, it'll be by mutual agreement. That is, Ed will walk into his office and say, I'd suggest that you agree. No, if Nathan doesn't think he can do the job anymore, he will decide that, and Ed won't sack him because he's contracted, and that's what people do when they sign contracts. They honour them.
Who are you tipping?
If Collingwood, and this is a plague sweeping through the whole competition, kicking for goal, it's a disgrace. If Collingwood could possibly kick straight, if they could, how can you tip sides when you don't know how they're going to kick? So on that basis, I'll tip Sydney.
Okay, I think the Sydney Swans will actually get up for Buddy's 250th. It's going to be a terrific game up there. Absolutely. Now, we're going to take a very short break. We've got Gary Ablett coming up very shortly. Live. I'll see you on the other side of the room.
Welcome back to the Footy Show, the exclusive interview with Gary Ablett to come very, very soon on his future with the Gold Coast Suns and beyond. As we go to air tonight, and Damien Barrett will be along with some more breaking news very, very soon, but some breaking news as we go to air as we speak from the Channel 7 Chief Executive, Tim Warner, who tonight has stood down from the Sydney Swans board over the recent saga. A quote tonight released by the 7 Network says, "My hope is by standing down I can relieve pressure on the board and the club and let them concentrate on the business of football and be a successful season. During as a club surges, I will be right there beside them and wish them every success." So the big story there, Tim Warner off the Sydney Swans board in 2017, Becca.
Okay, I don't think that was really a surprise. I think it was just a matter of time, do you think?
Do you? Yeah, okay.
Probably. Okay, let's get to the game. It's Geelong and Melbourne. It's the twilight game at Etihad Stadium. Let's take a look at the teams. Out goes Stanley Cowan. George Hall-Smith, who kicked that winning goal last week, he's got a broken thumb, so he's out. Lane admitted. In comes the big ruckman Smith. Cam Guthrie back from the calf injury, and James Parsons might be getting his first game taking off the rookie list today. His dad Kent will be over the moon. Taking a look at Melbourne. Out goes Lewis and Hogan. We'll talk about them a little bit more later on. Angus Brayshaw has actually been admitted as well. In comes Bernie Vince, Kent and Smith. Obviously the big story out of this is that they are losing 2 of their guns to suspension, Jordan Lewis and Jesse Hogan. Jordan Lewis is out for 3 weeks and Hogan out for 2 weeks. Very undisciplined side of late Melbourne. I don't think anyone's denying that, and they will not be wanting to give away any free kicks against Geelong on the weekend.
Blues were angry about this, BJ. What was your view of these incidents?
Well, they don't look good. I thought Louis was a little bit stiff, I thought. His initial reaction was hit him in the shoulder and actually slid up and hit him in the face. So you'd probably argue his intent to hit him in the head. So, yeah, look, they've said what they said. So I'm in no real position to comment on other teams and what they do.
Yeah, no, they got their right whack. I think when you look at both teams were a bit flat last week. Melbourne got the job done, and Geelong also against a very good North Melbourne. I still think Melbourne are the team to really watch this year. I think their midfield's so strong, lots of enthusiastic run from all the young players. So I think at Etihad, I think they'll win again.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty open and free-flowing game, I think, and I reckon missing Hogan's going to hurt the D's a little bit, and I think Geelong will get over the line.
Yeah, with those 2 outs, I think Geelong were only too strong.
Sam, before you give your tip, your view as one of the great ruckmen, the 17th greatest ever Geelong player in the eyes of the historians. of the decision last week not to go with a ruck by the Cats in the final quarter of the game in their comeback over North Melbourne?
Good or bad?
Great decision. Exploit the rules. What the AFL have done, or the Rules Committee, they have manipulated ruck work into a farce. So that if that man from North Melbourne or the Kangaroos grabs the ball, because no one went up with him, and he's tackled, he gives away a free kick. So Geelong decided they couldn't be bothered trying to compete with this ridiculous rule that you have to nominate. So they just let them get the hit out, shark the hit out. It didn't do them any harm, although they were lucky to win, but not because of the ruck work. Whoever came up with that idea is trying to fix something that's not broken. What would it matter if 12 people go for the hit out? That means there's 11 people down on the ground that no one's minding. It is the most ridiculous rule. Trying to make ruck work relevant, they've completely made it irrelevant by one fell swoop. It's
I think it's time we get rid of all the ruckmen because they make bad decisions, they can't kick and they can't even get to the fall of the ball. Anyway, but you as a ruckman were a real innovator. We saw this, a real innovator you were. You tried to smother it as the umpire tried to bounce. And then what we did a bit of research and we found that you're up against Kevin Neal that day. A few stoppages early, here it is. You were defeated all day, so that is why you actually went to that kind of technique because you were getting pantsed all day, so you decided to smother the ball from the umpire.
In the contest?
And not only that, your body language, you need to have a good look at yourself because it's terrible.
Uncompetitive there.
Well, hang on. Did you notice where the great Cowboy Neal hit the ball? To the Geelong player, which is exactly where I was trying to hit it. So I thought, why go up and compete with him? I might as well let him hit it to the man I was going to hit it to.
Well, if you look at that, you're trying to swipe it to the other direction. So if we really want to slow that down, I could prove you wrong.
Have a listen to the bloody... shut up.
Okay.
Sam, you're tipping this
Peanut gallery. What?
A tip for your game.
Geelong... I'll tell you what Geelong do. 50% of their handballs are completely unnecessary. Completely unnecessary. Well, hang on. And how many games have you...
That's all right. They're allowed to have their
I tell you what. If you play on the...
Hey! I'll tell you what,
whoever if you play on the forward line and people... Shut up, I'll come up and punch you in the head.
We're taking a break.
Okay,
You call your Jets, Samuel. You call your Jets. We've got to get to a break because up next, the story in the football world is the future of one of the greatest players, arguably, the game has ever seen, one of the greats in Gary Ablett. He joins us live and exclusively from the Gold Coast next on the Footy Show. I would think that if Geelong went to him with a scenario that could get him back to Geelong without any damage contractually or emotionally, he'd take it.
Another showdown looming between Gary Ablett and the Gold Coast Suns when at the end of the year, Ablett will again ask for a clearance back to Victoria.
He'll want to be playing in 18 here because of our results in 17.
The Giants have hit back. They win by 102 points over the hapless Suns.
It just looked terrible on the weekend from all angles.
He looked completely like a player didn't want to be there. Looked disinterested.
Body language was really poor for Gary. He's been a great player, but right now they need him to be a leader. What I saw from afar yesterday was a guy who was filthy. He wasn't being played where he wanted to play.
He wants to play in the midfield. There's nothing sure. They're playing him in the half-forward flank, and his body language was disgraceful for all concerned.
He looked like Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. He just wanted to click the heels and go home.
He's not a leader of men. It's just not who he is. I think Rodney Eade's had frustrations. He has trouble playing with injuries. Rodney Eade's been frustrated with that. There's no doubt that's been the case, and I think their relationship has suffered on the back of...
The relationship between Gary Ablett and Rocket Eade. There is something going on. Watch this space.
Gary looks like he is disappointed he is playing with the Suns, and Gary's cruising around getting superannuation, I reckon.
So in hindsight, you'd love two players at $500,000 and seeing Ablett do that.
They were absolute garbage. Gary would now be getting that point thinking, gee, did I do the right thing?
I think if he wants to go back, he shouldn't stand in people's way, shouldn't he?
Welcome back to the Footy Show. It has been an extraordinary week of coverage of Gary Ablett's situation at the Gold Coast Suns. To set the record straight, please join us in welcoming from the Gold Coast tonight, Gary Ablett himself. Welcome, Gary.
Thanks, guys, and thanks for the nice, kind words.
And, well, as we welcome you, it has been a big week of coverage here in Melbourne, and some big names in football there having their say. You listened to that. Does that hurt, and was it fair?
Yeah, I mean, it does hurt. I mean, when you hear anyone speaking about you like that, you know, they'd be lying to say, that it didn't hurt. But, the main reason that I came on tonight is not to defend myself, but I guess is to tell the truth. I think a lot of people have been misinformed out there to the truth. And, I felt I was pretty honest at the end of last season with the football club and with the media on the reasons behind why I asked for a trade back to Geelong, and that was for family reasons. The Gold Coast were super supportive through that process. They were pretty quick to say that I'm a required player at the Suns, and I respected that decision and told both the club and the playing group that I was 100% committed to this season, and that hasn't changed. It does hurt when you hear people say that you don't care. I'm someone that has been in the system for 16 years. The game's given so much to me, and I'm hoping that people can say, at the end of my career that I've given a bit back to the game as well. And I go out there every week. I'm a super competitive guy, and, I don't like to lose. So I'm sure, if you were to look at footage of any team that loses by 100 points, you're gonna find footage of guys with their head down because, we're competitive as footballers and we want to win games.
The industry, love and respect you, and that's probably been part of the reason why you got such heavy criticism on the weekend because of your own standards. But let's leave that aside for just a sec. The words "this season" stand out in that sentence. Can you clarify, do you want to be back in Geelong next season?
I think that was another thing that I was really honest about with the club. As I said that, this may be my last season. I've got some things going on in my life that, I'm not going to elaborate on, but they're my number one priority at the moment. And, I said to the club that I'm super committed to this year and that I'm going to give it everything. But I don't know what 2018 holds for me. I'll sit down with the club at the end of the year, we'll talk through that and I'll work out what the next step is for me.
That's a tough bind you're in there then, Gary, because you're contracted there next year and have signed a deal. They've said no once, and anyone listening to that would interpret that you want to go home in 2018. Is there two scenarios here? If they don't trade you at the end of the year, might you give the game away?
Well, that's exactly what I was saying, Hutch. I don't know what next year holds for me. There's some other things going on in my life that is my number one priority at the moment, and I need to work through those things. And yeah, I mean, as I said, that'll be something that I'll talk to the club with at the end of the year. We'll work out what the next step is for me, but I'm fully committed to this year. If it does end up being my last, I want to make sure that I make the most of it. I want to play finals football, and we're only 2 rounds into the season. There's still another 20 games to go, and I'm confident that we can get back to playing some good football.
The first 2 weeks have been flat. Are you ruling out playing at the Suns next year, even though you're contracted to?
No, of course I'm not ruling out playing at the Suns. It's just a discussion that I need to have with the club at the end of the year. I'm managing some things in my life at the moment, and I need to work through those things. So, there's no more of a story to it. That's what it is, and I just wish all the talk would stop. I am committed to this football club, and I'll be giving my all every single week.
Gary, I can understand and respect your desire to keep whatever's going on in your life private. I understand that. Do you think, though, you're 33 next month, if you do play on, is your best football behind you or is your best football in front of you?
My body's not feeling too bad. I felt like I had a really good pre-season. I put a lot of time in the off-season into getting my shoulder right and getting my body right. I had a really good pre-season. I was able to do most of the sessions, there's been all this talk about, how poor the team's performance was on the weekend, and we're not going to shy away from that. It was a very disappointing performance. It wasn't my best game, you know. But at the same time, you know, I felt I played a decent game the week before, and you know, I was going to continue to build up. I've been out of the game, you know, for a fairly long time now, and you know, I'm sure I'll improve every game I play.
Sam Newman, Gary, I'm a simple man, as you know. I'm not sure if you've answered this question yet. Are you happy at the Suns?
I am very happy, Sammy.
So you're happy at the minute, irrespective of the fact that you've wished to try and leave to go down to Geelong or some other club or back to Victoria. So you're happy at the Suns. We can say that, can we, without any fear of contradiction?
I'm happy at the Suns. As I said before, you know, my reason for coming on tonight was so that I could share with people the conversation that was had at the end of last season. And the reason that I asked for the trade was for family reasons, no other reason. And it was shut down pretty quickly. The club said that I was a required player. I respected that. They were very supportive, you know, through that time, and still very supportive today in helping me manage those things in my life. And that's really the extent of the story. I know that it's probably going to be a story for the rest of the year, but you know, I'm hoping that I don't need to comment on it again, because I want to focus on my football and getting out and hopefully helping, you know, our team play for some finals footy.
Well, in deference to you, we hope it won't be a story for the rest of the year, because you might clear a few things up. Now, I know this better than anyone. A happy wife is a happy life. And I've never been able to get it to work. So is this the problem? Not the problem. Is this the scenario that your wife probably wants to come back to Victoria and there's a conflict of interest there, you staying and her wanting to leave? Now, I don't want to get personal, but that's the only personal question we'll ask you. It's indirectly personal, but it's probably relevant to what you're going through.
Not at all. You know, it was obviously a tough move for Jordan to move up to the Gold Coast, you know, moving away from family. And I think she knew it was going to take her a while to settle in. It was the same for me. It took me a good 18 months to settle in up here. But, you know, Jordan is, you know, an amazing support. You know, she's always said to me that she'll follow me no matter where I am. You know, and so, yeah, I mean, I've seen that written in the paper. I've heard it. But... you know, I guess when you're in an industry like this where everyone wants to have their opinion, you know, you're going to hear things like that from time to time.
So we're drawing a line through those two things. You're happy at the Suns, and your
wife... Cross that one out, Sammy.
And your wife's happy, so no need to have those questions asked again by us or anyone else.
Do you think it's... No. Do you think when you go to... It's clear that you will go to the Suns at the end of the year and ask for a trade. I think that's what we can all glean from this interview. Do you think that you've done enough at your end of this deal for them to acknowledge that request? Do you think it would be a fair thing for them to trade you, or if you were them, would you be blocking it in the circumstances?
You tell me how you'd like me to handle this, Hutch. I feel like I have answered that question.
Okay.
That I'm very happy here at the moment. And I'm just focusing on getting out there and playing good football, you know, and that's pretty much the end of it. As I said, I'll sit down with the club at the end of the year. We'll work out whether, you know, me continuing football is the best thing with everything that's going on in my life at the moment, and we'll talk through that and work out the next step, what the next step is for me.
Gary, when you asked to come back, is it going to be Geelong, or is it just a Victorian club, or is Geelong the only option for you? We know that you've been, you know, you've been in the room since you were a little kid. Geelong has always been in your heart and always will be. Is that where your heart is? Is that where you want to finish your football career?
I'm hoping that... it's hard to continue to talk about these things. Obviously, I'm not going to elaborate with what's going on in my life, because I don't think that would be fair, you know, to those certain individuals. But, you know, I'm hoping that, you know, we can work through those things and you know, it may be that I stay up here and finish my career off, because I am enjoying myself up here at the moment. But really, that's all I can give you on that at the moment. I'm committed to the club for 2017. And I'm just looking forward to getting out there next week and hopefully getting a win for the club.
Do you have the same bond and kinship with the Suns players as you did with the Geelong players? There's no problem with harmony at the club as far as you're concerned?
Not at all. We're a very close group. You know, we've been through a lot over the last 5 or 6 years. You know, obviously moving up. You know, a lot of 17, 18-year-old kids that have moved away from home, and you know that in itself has been a real challenge for those guys. And you know, I've enjoyed the journey as much as we haven't been able to play football, finals football in that time. You know, I know personally I've grown so much as a person, as a leader. I've really enjoyed watching those guys grow as well, as people and as footballers, and you know, they're friendships that will be there for life.
Gaz, I'm on your side. I think you haven't played a lot of consistent football over the last few years from injury. You play your first game, you played quite well. Your second game, your body language wasn't great. The commentators gave you a bit of a hard time, but was it possible that your body was sore? Not consistent with the football over the last few years?
My body's actually feeling pretty good. As I mentioned earlier, I had a very good pre-season. I was able to get most of the sessions in. Look, to be honest, I haven't seen any of the footage, you know, of where this apparent poor body language is. But you know, I think when you're playing in a game like that, as you probably know, Croft, where you know, a team gets a jump on you early. You know, you're just trying to work out how, you know, to get the momentum back in your favour, and you know, taking nothing away from GWS. They're a very good football side. They do a lot of things well, and there was a lot of guys for the Suns that were frustrated out there that day because we weren't playing the brand of football we know we can play, and that's the challenge for us this week, is getting out there. We believe our brand of football can match it with anyone. But it's about consistency for us, and that's something that we've struggled with, you know, over the 5 or 6 years we've been in the competition.
Gary, I know it was an isolated incident, perhaps it was just one game, but when you have a look at the body language of you last week on the field, you probably have not seen this. If you weren't you and you were just looking at another player, what would you take from this game if you were commentating on another player? Does it look to you like that player's heart's in it?
Has been good so far.
Sorry, I'm watching the footage now as you're speaking.
Does it look? What do you take away from that? Looking at yourself, Gary. That's not you. That's not the way you usually play footy.
Yeah. Look, I can obviously see frustration there. You know, as I mentioned, I'm a very competitive guy. I want to win games, and it was a very tough game to play in. You know, they jumped us from the start, and we just couldn't seem to figure out what we needed to do to get momentum. You know, or get the, you know, I guess get the game back in our favour. I think in the third quarter we got the margin back to about 22 points, but then we gave away some easy goals. So look, I'll go, there's no doubt I'll go away and you know, I'll have another look at that and make sure that that I'm setting the best example for my young teammates. But I'm confident that I'll put in a lot better performance this weekend.
Now, finally, from me, you've said twice in this chat that there are other problems involved in your life that's hard for you to make a decision. Is it too intrusive, Gary, to ask you what those problems are?
He said that earlier.
Yeah, I think so, Sam. Yeah.
They're personal matters,
yeah,
and you don't wish to elaborate?
I don't wish to talk about on national TV, yes.
Hey, Gaz, your coach, Rodney Eads, you know, he's been playing you all over the place. Where would you like to play? Where do you think you should play over the next few weeks?
I'm actually enjoying the role of, you know, spending a bit of time, you know, through the midfield and also down forward. Obviously, I started my career down forward and really enjoyed that. But yeah, I guess it all depends on where Rocket, you know, wants to play me. We've obviously got some young guys that, you know, we would love to play through the midfield just to help with their development. And, you know, so if my best role for the team is playing down forward, then I'm happy to do that. You know, at the end of the day, I just want to win footy games. I want to get back to playing finals football and hopefully, you know, win the premiership. That's why we all play football. So, yeah, I'll be doing everything I possibly can to help the team.
Well,
and before we let you go,
Hutchie, can I just say, I just don't understand why he's not playing on ball, because you need someone with that experience, with all those young kids around them, to actually be on ball, to actually help them out, set them up properly. So I don't understand why they're not doing that at the moment. Anyway, I just thought I'd say that.
Yep, no, I think there's a few that would agree with you. Before we let you go, Gary, and it's been extraordinary to hear what you're going through from the heart, and we appreciate enormously you answering the tough questions tonight and being candid about your future. As we let you go, at the end of the year, to hear you tonight talk even the possibility of retirement at such an age of, what, 32, 33, when I think many people thought you could still play for another 3-4 years as a forward, it would be an extraordinary thing for you to have to walk away from the game. Do you firmly have the view that you would like to play on next year if the circumstances allow you to? And to the extension of that, by extension, you would most probably have to take a pay cut, which is a tough thing to do at this point of your life if you moved clubs. Are you prepared to confront both of those issues?
Yeah, look, Hutch, it's not something that I want to think about too much at this stage. You know, I just want to focus on this season and just giving my all. And, you know, I know it is going to be a sad day when I walk away from the game, because the game has given me so much. And, you know, but it does come to an end for everyone. And, you know, I've got some other things in my life that I'm super passionate about, but also some things that, you know, just really need my time and attention. And so, yeah, we'll see what happens at the end of the year, mate.
Well, Gary Ablett, I think in the short term you will probably prove everyone wrong, and you'll probably get 40 touches next week. Thank you so much for joining us. And I think every football fan across Australia will be begging him not to hang up the books too soon. So we wish you all the best with the Hawks this week, and for the rest of the year, Gary Ablett, thank you very much for being with us on The Footy Show.
Thanks, guys.
Gary Ablett. It was gripping, wasn't it? And an extraordinary insight into a man facing one giant decision at the end of the season with his football mortality right behind him. More on that still to come on The Footy Show.
Coming up on The Footy Show, after 30 years, can Alex Rance get Stephen Kernahan to sing Stand By Your Man just one more time?
Stand by your man!
The Footy Show ramps up its campaign for Dan Hanbury's Frothy-led form recovery. Ah, that's the spirit, Helmet. Has Sammy found the next Married at First Sight bachelor? There's an El Primo seat for all comers in the house. El Primo, not Pramo. Tonight on The Footy Show.
This may be my last season. You know, I've got some things going on in my life that, you know, I'm not going to elaborate on, but they're my number one priority at the moment. And, you know, I said to the club that I'm super committed to this year and that I'm going to give it everything. But I don't know what 2018 holds for me. You know, I'll sit down with the club at the end of the year, we'll talk through that, and I'll work out what the next step is for me.
Is there two scenarios here? If they don't trade you at the end of the year, might you give the game away?
Well, that's exactly what I was saying, Hutch. I don't know what next year holds for me. You know, there's some other things going on in my life that is my number one priority at the moment, and I need to work through those things. And
Well, welcome back to The Footy Show. That was Gary Ablett just before the break in, I dare to say, one of the most revealing interviews that Gary Ablett has ever given, to be honest. I'm saying as much to say that, you know, his personal issues are so great that he may actually consider retirement at the end of the year. What an interview, Hutch.
First of all, it was great of him that he had the courage to come on and talk about it with such emotion and rawness. We all love Gary Ablett. We love him. He's such a loved and revered figure in the history of the game, and we all wish him well with his personal issues. I just wonder now, BJ and Shane and Heath, if that puts the pressure back on the Suns. Like, he didn't come on to negotiate, clearly, but it has helped his cause to tell his story in a raw way like that, because it will now put the pressure on the Suns more and more over the next 20 weeks to make a decision and to let him go at the end of the year, BJ. And you've been through it. It's a tough thing to move clubs at the best of times.
Yeah, my situation's obviously pretty different, but if there is personal reasons attached to it and the main reasons behind it, then it'd be...
They should let him go, do you think?
Well, yeah, it's You wouldn't say it would look good on them if they're holding him to
well, the thing is, he's tried to break up with them once. If they don't let him break up again, I mean...
They can't.
And I understand the club's point of view in terms he's got a contract signed, a 3-year deal, so there's obligations there. But at the same time, there's...
But that's up the stakes in this game significantly tonight.
Yeah.
Like he can't stay there now next year. They have to deal him out the end of the year.
But Craig, he's a conflicted, distracted, distraught young man. Through nothing, I don't think, to do with football. Personal, and we've said that, he's said it several times. But think of the Suns. The Suns would not like to, in all his feelings and all their help for him, just say, well, mate, off you go, and he suddenly ends up at Geelong playing against them. I mean, you have to think of the Suns' position as well.
Yeah, I think both the parties will work out a deal at the end of it. I think that's where it'll land. Yeah. No, I'd be certain that's where it lands at the end of the year. Let's talk some footy and lighten the mood a little bit after that very emotional interview. And you mentioned Dan Hanbury.
Yes, at the top of the show. Tan, you were hot under the collar that Dan has a self-inflicted alcohol ban. Dan Hanbury hasn't been in the best form since he's given up the grog.
Let's get Hannah's hammered.
Do you want to help him play better footy,
we do, and we think hitting the sauce really heavily. Perhaps the night before would be maybe it's a maybe it's a 12-can round or a 6. I'm not sure.
You're onto
maybe getting
Sam.
some heavier spirits or something. I'm not sure.
You're definitely onto something because you have a look at the Crownie to Clanger ratio, and that is really, really high. So he definitely needs a few drinks, and then that way his performance will lift. So he'll no doubt go on and have a wonderful season if he does have a few drinks.
You're having some fun with this, but I just wonder if there's actually some semblance of truth in this. You played with the Rat Pack at Collingwood, and you were one of the Rat Pack. Some people just are better when they can let off some steam, like Dane Swan. Maybe not Fev, but do you think there's some people are just not equipped to be cast in the role of the angel?
I think it's each to their own, in a way. I think he made a decision after the grand final last year, the disappointment of losing a grand final, that he wanted to give it up. He had his knee recovery, so he probably didn't drink throughout that recovery as well. And personally, I haven't done the whole ban of alcohol. Like, just put that.
Oh, really?
Put that to the side. But there's times to blow off some steam, and there's times not to. And he's chosen this way, and I'm sure he'll kick back into form pretty soon.
Sam, what about you? Did you drink throughout your career?
Savagely.
Did you?
Yeah, no, it's hardly a day when I was sober. I can't remember the time I went to a game and I was sober. I used to drink quite heavily an hour before it and hope it'd get me through. He's got on the wagon. He should get on the CUB wagon. Is it a coincidence that CUB let half their workforce go last year? Would that be as a coincidence of him getting off the piss?
Nothing to do with it, I wouldn't think. Yeah. Hey, we're talking about clearing up some myths tonight. There's some suggestion that you drank during a game.
Well, I didn't drink during a game. This is 1976. That's Rod Olsen was the coach there. That's me standing up there in a very pleasant dressing gown, and we're sitting on a tarpaulin there.
At quarter time?
That'd be at 3/4 time. You can tell by all the mud on us. In the 60s, now this is true, and people will verify this, we used to sit in a tarpaulin and there was no such thing as sniffing salts or smelling salts or exchanging your blood or doing whatever. We used to drink medium Solero sherry. And I don't know if you've heard...
During the game?
They used to bring it out.
Have a nip of sherry.
He did not drink it during the game.
We did, so indeed. And I was, in the 60s when I started, I was 18. And about 5 minutes into the last quarter, invariably, I was half shicker. I was actually legless.
That can't be true. You drank alcohol during games of VFL football.
It's 3/4 time, mate.
Just you
I
or the
hope
whole
someone
team?
will ring in before the night's out who knows my phone number, and they will verify that.
Well,
we used to sit there.
Makes a lot of sense for them in the last quarters that trained off over the years.
And mate, we were in the we were in the finals every year of the decade of the 60s to the 70s.
So that's performance enhancing, isn't it?
Well, it was. This is my point.
What was the reasoning behind it, Sam?
What?
what was the reason?
To warm you up and just get
warm your tummy.
Get you
warm
going.
you up.
Get you going.
To lead into
Speaking
that
of
Saturday night,
Give
was
you
it?
some sort of Dutch courage. Is racist to say that?
No, that's okay.
Dutch-
Prof, what on earth have you got on your head?
We love Dan Hanbury.
We do love
Dan Hanbury. So there we have it. We have the hashtag no Dan bandana. Get on board. We want to get the message out to Dan Hanbury. Okay, I reckon Sam's onto something. So there you go, boys. And send him a message. Okay, remember hashtag no Dan bandana and tell him what you think. Tell him what he should be drinking, and let's get him back into form. Okay, we at the Footy Show care for Dan.
We do care. No, he's a great footballer. He'll get back to good form.
Always drink responsibly.
Exactly. Now, let's get to this game because it is 1v2. It is going to be a huge showdown at Adelaide Oval on Saturday night. A huge blockbuster indeed. There are the teams. There in comes Hamish Hartlett. Over the page to Adelaide, in comes Jake Lever. I tell you, these two teams, well, maybe not Adelaide surprised everybody, but perhaps Port surprised everybody because pre-season we were talking about Ken Hinkley. Could he coach? Did he have the men underneath him to do what needs to be done? And they have not lost a game so far. They are looking really good, Port Adelaide. I don't think anyone expected them to have not dropped a game yet, but they've really turned the corner, I think. Croft, who do you think will win this match?
Well,
It's going to be a
they've been
tough,
led very
tight one.
well. Travis Boak really leading away. They're tough. Port Adelaide, they're really playing some tough footy. And this is going to be a showdown. It's
Have they convinced you yet, Croft, the 2 wins?
Well,
won
it's
you
only
over?
2 games, Craig, so settle down. But they're playing really tough footy. They're moving the ball really well. Adelaide, well, have they been convincing as well? They're quite smooth, and I think they're the team to beat so far this season. So Adelaide will win. Who are you tipping?
Yeah, both teams are in some serious form. We come up against Adelaide in round 1 and they gave us a real touch-up. And Jenkins going out's a little bit of a loss, but they've got a few different avenues to go, Adelaide, so I'll pick them.
Okay.
Yeah, arguably the match of the round, 2-0, and their form probably backs it up, so I'm going to go with Adelaide in a tight one.
Sammy?
I got no idea.
No idea?
No, seriously.
This is first versus second,
I'm not disinterested or even uninterested. There's a difference, you know. But how would you know who's going to win that game?
You don't.
They're
It's going
both
to be very
in
tight.
splendid form, and it'll get down. And this is why tipping is fraught with danger, because you cannot tell if someone's going to kick a goal from 20 metres out or kick it out of bounds on the full, and therefore your tipping goes out the window.
But you do when Eddie Betts gets the ball.
Hey?
You know where it's going, straight through the middle.
Well, Eddie Best doesn't play for one of the sides, Shane, so that rules him out.
This is great, though. Becca
Doesn't
and
play
I...
for one of them, he plays for the other one.
Well, that's right. Actually, Dan Hennebury's just texted in and said if Sam sculls that beer, he's going to get back on the sauce.
Oh,
So there we go.
All right, I don't know. Look, the revival by Port's really been led by Wines and Boak. I mean, they have been phenomenal, but I just reckon Adelaide's a little bit better than Port.
They're a great game of footy. And by the way, love the fact that you are watching footy again this year.
No, mate, I've
you are
always
watching
watched
more
it.
than you
I
admit.
pretended I didn't watch it. I've forgotten more about football than you two ever knew.
Okay, one thing you do
and
do,
you,
though,
any of you.
One thing you do though is read your mailbag.
more than
It's
any of
time
you
for
know.
Sam's mailbag.
I feel a bit embarrassed to do this because if this was about...
Since when?
No, well, I'm not... this is from Mal of Horsham.
Meninga.
What'd you say?
Don't worry.
What'd you say? What's wrong with his finger?
Mel.
Move on.
Mel, number 1.
Meninga.
Dear Sam.
You never saw my lips move, did you? Sammy.
Your forehead.
Sammy.
Dear Sam, it's Sammy.
Did you see who made the list of Melbourne's most eligible bachelors? There was Jack Watts.
Jackie boy.
The Bont. And then, says Mel, dear God, Hutchie.
It was in the paper.
It's a horrible picture, isn't it?
Go get him, gals. Go after him, the great hunk. Seriously, Craig, it's a great honour that you are even nominated.
Sharp.
I've never ever been considered for that. I've been a bachelor most of my life, in between marriages. Shut up, sir. maybe this you'll love
still
this.
going.
No, maybe they got the word eligible mixed up with dirigible. Now that is sharp. That is good stuff.
Yeah,
because that's
razor sharp humour.
That's a
very
large
funny stuff.
zeppelin full of methane.
People side-splitting.
You could be a mini zeppelin full of methane, Craig. No, seriously, we're going. If we said this about anyone else, imagine if you said this about a woman, we'd be put off air. Big fat woman.
Was there any more of those?
Righto, and also girls, or boys. Let's be gender neutral. Boys might be interested. Who, in God's name, if you're a boy, would be in? Girls, boys. Hutchie is also on Tinder. They had to spread him over 3 pages. And as a sideline, they wedged him into Grinder as well.
What?
And that covered 12 pages, Grinder.
Can we stop this?
Now, Hutchie can look decent. Now, this is serious. This is a picture of him, and
He looks good there.
yeah.
Oh, thank you, Becca.
And you see in the back there, that's the 2 ways Hutchie travels. He goes by Uber to the function, then gets a forklift home with coach. They come in and... Now, Craig, I think you're in fantastic nick, and I'm sorry about all that.
Still going.
We drain the whole world of red cape paper.
Let it 2, can we?
Yeah, that is. It's coming
Someone
now.
else you have a crack at?
From Shorty of North Fremantle, Foss. Fremantle is stuffed. What can we do about it? Well, we can revert back to the name this man gave us back in 1994.
What do you think we should call them? Catfish. The what? Catfish. The catfish. The catfish. Oh, shitfish. Sorry about that.
Well, sir, that man suggested that in Fremantle were going through ordinary times, they call them the shitfish. Well, this week it's not the Bulldogs versus the Dockers, it's the Bulldogs versus the shitfish. So, sir, wherever you are, sir, that very kind gentleman, I hope you're happy because we have taken your suggestion and this is to prove it.
Well done, Crook.
It's a bit like that joke, really, isn't it?
Yeah, you didn't have to wear a costume, Shane. Just running out would have been enough. From Carl of Melton.
More on the Dockers to come later, by the way, respectfully. Yep.
Someone just died. Someone just
From
died.
Carl of Melton. Dear Sammy, quick question for your panel. What was the first grand final day Nathan Buckley featured in? Now, Brendan, would you know the first grand final day that Nathan Buckley featured in? Heath, are you listening to
Early
any of this?
2000s?
You cognizant
What
of
was the
I'm-
question?
Exactly. What was the first grand final day Nathan Buckley... I got a feeling you don't know.
It would be... Well, they played in 2002.
They did
They lost the
indeed,
grand final in
2002. No, it was... The answer is 1989. He was in the pre-game entertainment. This is him here. Oh, that's not him. That is him there.
That's Bucks there.
That's Bucks.
Is that really?
That's him.
That is actually Nathan, is it not?
That is...
Shitfish.
That's a
What?
Shitfish.
That is Nathan. Where is he? Now, finishing off, Carl says, how close are you to Eddie? It's because he's dressed...
He'll be back on the drink soon.
How close are you to
I
Eddie?
might be.
Will he sack Bucks? This is Carl asking me because it's addressed to me. And why does everyone hate on Bucks so much? Shit, it's not like he's Brendan Goddard. Well, to be fair...
That was low.
To be fair, this is... Oh, I didn't say that. This is Carl of Milton, the imbecile, said that.
What's his
and to be
address?
fair, not everyone dislikes Bucks. Now,
He's a very nice gentleman.
A lovely gentleman,
Yeah,
isn't
lovely
he?
gentleman.
Do you think he's got
a very family man, yes.
a very family-oriented man?
Yes.
Do you think he could take over such a nice club as Collingwood and coach them?
I think he could.
Hey?
I think he will.
You think he
I
will?
think he will.
Do you think he will, darling?
No, I think he's an arsehole.
We're going to rock the Sands mailbag and be part of liquid gold comedy like that. GPO Box 9, Melbourne, Victoria, 3001 or 9now.com.au/AFL Footy Show to join in Sam's mailbag. Damien Barrett with some more big stories next right here on the Footy Show.
Sean Dempster, who tonight is considering his future in the game. Mystery surrounds the reasons behind this situation, but we do know that he was extremely disappointed at missing senior selection last week for the game against Melbourne. He also missed the Saints VFL-aligned game on the same weekend.
Welcome back to the Footy Show, everybody. That was our own Damien Barrett last week on the Footy Show, suggesting, saying that Sean Dempster will retire. Well, today it was announced that Sean Dempster will be retiring, so we wish Sean and his family all the best with his future endeavours. It's been a great career.
That's right, they got 200-game player, premiership star. Well done to Sean and well done to Damien Barrett for breaking that story. 17-time AFMA winner. Welcome to you, Damien. And the Gold Coast Suns are watching like the rest of us that interview. That's not the extent of their problems, the Suns, Gary Ablett. Clearly, you were there during the week. What can you tell us about the coaching situation?
Yeah, well, Mark Evans, the new CEO, has not been there a month. He's already now got the major issue with Gary Ablett to deal with, and the other major issue he's got to deal with is who's going to be the next coach. And I believe that he will be drawing on his long and strong friendship with four-time Hawks premiership coach Alastair Clarkson to at least ask the question of Clarkson, would he reconsider his own contract with the Hawks until the end of 2019? And as you can see in this interview here, Mark Evans did not shoot down that possibility.
You asked the question about his future in football and at Hawthorn?
Alistair's future in football and at Hawthorn. Well,
given what he's done,
one of the star coaches of the last decade as to what his future is.
Given what he's done,
I would have thought his future is whatever he wants it to be.
Maybe he wants to be coach somewhere else. Would you ask that question?
Take it to Alistair, mate. It's not for me.
He's got 2 years to go of a contract, Alastair Clarkson. He's in demand by every club all the time, anytime anyone needs a coach. Clearly there's a link there. What's your view, Shane? Do you think that the Suns are on the right path if they do go and speak to Alastair? And if you're Alastair, do you even contemplate that possibility?
If I was the Suns, I'd be getting Alastair Clarkson. Yeah, he's a remarkable coach. And when Mark Evans was at Hawthorn with Alastair, they were like Batman and Robin. They were wonderful together. They really were. So that wouldn't surprise me one bit if he's asking the question. Secondly, would Clarko leave Hawthorn? I don't know.
Not sure the Hawks would be that keen to let him go out of it.
No, but then again, he might have a get-out clause because for a long time he's often said, you know, the same voice around the players that he's had for a long period of time. You know, is it time to move on? But the team, yeah, started poorly so far this year. Haven't had any wins, but they're still confident with where they're going.
Also winless, the Fremantle Dockers, and they've got their share of issues, Damien.
Yeah, and it's been a really torrid week this week, Hutchie. Ross Lyon tonight has made 6 changes for the team for the weekend's game. He wanted to make those 6 changes last week. He was basically overruled on that occasion by his leadership group. And this is what's happened during the week as a result of that poor round 2 performance. Ross Lyon barred most of the playing group from a normally scheduled meeting that was the normal match review situation. He wanted only to deal with the leadership group in this particular situation during the week, and he basically had a showdown with that group and as well as other senior players, some of whom have been axed from that team tonight. It's a shift here, Hutchie. He did rely on the players to push their cause to keep the team intact between round 1 and round 2, made the decisions tonight change in how he's going to be coaching for the remainder of the year. He's back in charge.
Dame, I want to ask you about Nick Riewoldt. He was on the show last week. He had that knee injury. Will he play this week?
100%, Beck.
Really?
He got through a training session today, and here is the proof of how good he's now looking, Beck, just 1 week out from that serious or potentially serious knee injury that he suffered in round 1. The Footy Show's David Zeta saw the session, caught up with Nick after it.
Yeah, pulled up well. So I've put my hand up to play. Hopefully the coach picks me now. So, yeah, no, felt pretty good out there. So done the right thing the last couple of weeks and given it every chance. And yeah, it should be good to go for Sunday.
There you go.
Yeah, look, he was out there for an hour or so and met every requirement there and right to go. And that was post the training session. He is absolutely right to go. Just before I go, Brett Delidio is having his return to football pushed back. The recruit from Richmond to GWS. It's now at the earliest round 6, but more likely to be round 7 and possibly beyond.
Great week again. Would you put your hands together for Damien Barrett, the 17-time winner of the AFMA? As we launch into the Gold Coast Suns, heading this game, got some intrigue now against the Hawthorn Football Club at Metricon Stadium on the weekend. Sunday 4:40 game. Shane Crawford, if we look at the teams in this game, a really big challenge just now for the Suns to get their season back on track and then some changes.
Yeah, a couple of good ins here. Is a very good player, and Harbrell will give him plenty of run. We have a look at the mighty Hawks, who are trying to get their first win for the season. Ruffy there, Gunston O'Meara up against his old side, which will be interesting. The Hawks have been okay, just not gelling well enough just yet, but they've been okay. And Gold Coast, nothing shorter than Gary Ablett coming out and getting 30 plus and having a wonderful game. But I think the Hawks have been obviously a lot better than Gold Coast at the moment, so I'm going to go with the Hawks in a good little victory.
Yeah, obviously both teams without a win, so someone's got to win this game. I think the Hawks will win.
Just quickly, I think it was a bit, I don't know, it just sat uncomfortably there talking about a bit disrespectful to Rocket Eade and talking about as if he essentially won't have a job at the end of the year.
Who was disrespectful?
Just talking about
Shane
Clarkson.
Was disrespectful.
No, it's just a little bit uncomfortable with me.
I just asked about positioning.
No, earlier with Damo, just that it is round 2 and we're talking about as if under the impression that Rocket Eade won't have a job at the end of the year.
Exactly.
I just think
quite right.
a little bit disrespectful to him and the Gold Coast Suns.
Yeah, it's
Damo, when Damo making the point that in his view that Rocket won't be the coach and that the Suns will be making the coach.
It just came across as if it's
disrespectful.
Yeah, and foregone conclusion that he won't have a job.
I tell you what,
do you think he can still be the coach?
It's round 2. I think he will have a job. They'll bounce back, and I think they'll have a.
They'll beat Hawthorn?
They probably won't beat Hawthorn this week, but they're going to bounce back at some stage. But yeah,
I tell you what,
it just sat uncomfortable with me.
You were disrespectful to Gary Ablett because he said he wanted to keep things private, and then 5 minutes later you go, "Oh, can you tell us what's going on?"
No, I said, would it be too intrusive? Maybe he would just let this slip the gem that we're after.
But he said he didn't want to go there, and then you've asked the.
But you've got to be tenacious, Shane.
Oh, right, okay.
And you're disrespectful. I tell you why you're disrespectful? Because instead of just blindly tipping Hawthorn who haven't won a game and you're all over and up at half of the people there and the coach you're massaging, why don't you give them some advice like I do with Geelong? Why don't you say what's wrong with Hawthorn and see if that will...
Well, they're not gelling well enough. They've got some new players from the outside. It's simple as that.
Euphemistic nonsense.
But the effort's there, which is a real
plus. Gelling.
That's just
who are you tipping, Sam?
Vagaries. Think of some specifics.
All right. Well, what are you going to tell us about the game?
I'm going to tell you to shut up. Now, what's that, Spec?
Sam,
yes,
your tip. Hawks or Suns? It's fine.
What?
Hawks
just
or
a
Suns?
simple word. One, Hawks or Suns?
Oh. Give us some detail.
No, I just want one word.
Hawthorn.
Yes, go. All right. Yeah, the Hawthorn. They've got to win one. They've got to win one. Surely. Let's go straight to the next game. Saturday night at Domain. It is Freo taking on the reigning premiers, the Western Bulldogs. As Damo was talking about, Ross Lyon has made wholesale changes. Dawson, Pearce, Griffin, everyone's out. 6 changes out. In comes Sheridan, Crozier, Gray, Hughes, Lowe. Heaps of changes there. They need to. They have not been playing great footy at all. Why would you change the Bulldogs lineup? You wouldn't, but Cramery's out with a hip, so in comes McLean. Obviously, the story this week has been Ross Lyon, the finger, as he's been under the spotlight. There's plenty of pressure on Ross Lyon. There he is. He's exacerbated in the coach's box, and why wouldn't he be? There's been some pretty poor efforts, but he's made wholesale changes this week, and hopefully we'll see a better-looking Fremantle outfit.
He's put his foot down, as Damo said.
He has.
He's taken the leaders on and he's said enough's enough. BJ, you love Ross. He's your long-time favourite.
You've called him a genius on a few occasions. Do you still think
May
he's a genius?
May I quote? Ross is a tactical genius. Through a methodical and deliberate process, preparation and training, you will get results. When do you think that's likely to happen? Brendan.
They've had pretty...
You sage. You soothsayer.
No, they'll turn their form around. Yeah.
Well, they've had the year and a half to do
No,
it.
look, they're
Haven't
obviously
won a
struggling,
game yet.
but there's no doubt that Ross is doing everything he possibly can in his powers to get their players up and performing.
So it's not his fault, it's the
no,
fault
not
of the
just
list?
his fault. It's maybe he's talked about the list and where they're at, but...
what do you think of their list?
I'm not one to talk about list, Hutchie. I'm not a list manager, I'm an opposition player, but Ross is still a genius in my eyes. He's been my best coach that I've had, and he's got an innate ability to get his players up.
Innate?
Yeah, and to change their performances in a way.
Born with it.
Hey?
He was born with it.
Yeah, and he'll do that. They'll bounce back.
The question people ask of him, which is unfair, people question, because he hasn't had to do it before, whether he can rebuild a list. You work really closely with him. Do you think
Whether he can or not?
Yeah.
I think he said this week that he's not in charge of who they draft, and it's fair to say he's got some say in it, but he hasn't been in that position before. But Ross is great at adapting to the situation and evolving. He evolves with the game and the situation, so I've got no doubt that he's able to adapt and do that. I've seen him grow as a coach in the period I had him at the Saints and improve. But I think he's definitely got that in him. He's capable of doing it.
You tipping the Bulldogs though this week?
I think Freo will be winning at half-time, but the Bulldogs will get over the top of them.
Okay. Hey, tip from you?
It's interesting. There's a lot of coaches getting sacked and players moving and everything.
It's all
at
happening
the moment.
here.
Yeah. I think the Bulldogs will win overall. And it's good to see Pokey going well as well.
The best thing that Fremantle will get out of the game is they get to play a really good side who are prepared to switch the play, really take the game on, something Fremantle's not doing at the moment, and I think it'll be a great lesson for all the young kids coming in.
Okay.
So the Dogs, big moment.
Sam, a tip from you from this game,
Just
Bulldogs,
quickly,
Freo, just quickly.
Every club should study closely the paradigm, the pattern of the Dogs football, and that is the new age way to play football.
Oh, wow.
They are
watching footy.
They are a street ahead of the opposition.
They are. They're playing very good footy, so I'm gathering you're tipping the Dogs.
I am gathering that.
Okay. Sam, because you're watching so much football, you'd also be reading the paper. Interesting article during the week with David Cloke coming out, defending Travis Cloke and basically having a go at Nathan Buckley, saying Nathan Buckley's game plan is not great for key forwards and essentially nearly killed his son. And Darcy Moore, look out, you're in the firing line. What do you make of David Cloke? I mean, Travis is a 30-year-old man. Does he really need his dad coming out defending him?
It's a very good point. It's not helpful, is it?
I wouldn't have thought so.
No, it's not. And David should know better than that. It's Travis has had a couple of kicks down at with the best side in the competition for a long time. He's had a couple of kicks. If he can just get through the year and be reasonably good, well, then his old man might have a point. But
two great Collingwood families, the Cloakes and the Shaws. Interested in Heath's view. What would you have done if your old man had been on the back page of the paper?
My old man, he tells me how to play football after every game and what I've done wrong and all that. But to put in the papers, it just puts a little bit more pressure on you that you don't need in round two. Like you said, if he has a good long year, then maybe you can come out. But it's pretty early on in the season to be
my
throwing
dear
that
old
out.
dad, when I played, if I played poorly, blamed no one else except me. He used to give me nice advice and would never, ever consider having a go at the coach or anyone else in the side. You are responsible for yourself.
It was always a tough playing surface, the first fleet, though, back in those days.
Can I just say, all the evidence I've found on Travis Cloke at Collingwood, it was a real positive environment. Have a look at Travis' recovery. There he is. He had a wonderful time, and there he is, just loving it. So I don't know what they're on about. He had a great time when he was with the Mighty Pies.
Oh, dear me.
Oh, dear. Dear me. Now, we need to take a break on the footy show, but I know it's annoying when we have to go to a commercial break, isn't it?
Drink that
We're going
beer,
to take
would
a
you?
very short commercial break on the footy show, but on the other side of this, you're going to see something very unique. You've never seen this before. It's Alex Rance in a car with Lee Kernaghan, country music star, and they pick up Sticks Kernahan. Will he sing the song, Stand By Your Man? We've been waiting years and years for this. You'll see it on the other side of the
Let's go, girls. I could show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid. I really want to show you my ocarina skills. Because, you know, I've never really met Sticks before, so obviously you'll be introducing, and it's kind of like a blind date in a way, isn't it? Like you're the connector between me and Sticks.
Well, for me, you know, I'm starting to get heart palpitations right now because, you know, not in a funny kind of way. I'm saying like in a...
What do you mean?
You know, not in a Brokeback Mountain kind of way.
That could have been...
See, I've tried to call Sticks probably 10 times this year, and I just keep getting the message back.
Hi, phone's been Kernahan. I'm busy right now. Please leave your name and number. I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Sure. Okay. That's no good. You got to know when to hold.
Sam and I were doing a skit. I was like, mate, geez, that car park's a bit tight. You're going to try and get yourself into there? And he goes, look, mate, if you can't reverse parallel a car, you should hand in your licence. Just as he goes back, bang, straight into a tree.
Oh, no. What the
Something. Yeah, he's a rubbish driver.
You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. It's time enough for counting when the dealing's done.
Surely he can't dodge you a second time.
Okay, right, I'm going to give it one more try.
15th time lucky.
We've been shearing the sheep. We've been mustering stock. We've been culling out roos. We've been spraying... Sticks, it's your cousin, Lee Kernaghan. Lee.
Well, I've always tried to get you to talk to G, but how are you, mate?
Yeah, mate, I'm fantastic. All the better for talking to you, mate. And I was wondering if we could swing by your place and maybe say g'day for a minute.
Yep, no problem. Head over.
We're coming.
Success. We're in.
We are the Navy Blues. We are the old dark Navy Blues.
Come on, mate.
The
Surely
team
you're not going to put me
that never
through
let
all
you
this.
down. But you can tell that we're related because, you know, he's a very good-looking man, you know, and, well, he's a very highly regarded singer.
Stand by your man!
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I reckon he can get his head around a good country song.
Stand by your man!
Love is a burning thing. And it makes...
Boys! How are you, lads? How you going?
Oh, jeez.
You got room for me?
G'day,
Lee,
mate.
great to see you again,
Good to
mate.
see you,
How are
Sticks.
Francie, good to see you, mate.
You
You well?
too. I was saying it was a bit of a blind date that Lee's sort of... He's stitched me up a bit here. He's brought me into the hands of the real big decision maker at Carlton, and I'm feeling a bit vulnerable, to be totally honestly. So.
Lee and I always catch up when he's in Melbourne.
Yeah. What do you have better memories of, the grand finals or the times after the grand finals?
Well, I paid a heavy price for a song I sung many years ago. I don't know if you've ever heard it. But it fits in with what you guys are doing here
What was that
today,
song? What was that song?
Well, I think Tammy Wynette made it famous, but of course, Lee, I got it from the Blues Brothers. That was my favourite. That's why I got a hold of Stand By Your Man.
Yeah.
But, do you know it, Lee, do you?
Would you make my life complete and do a duet with me, Sticks?
Mate, I'm not singing it again, Lee, but you go ahead. Sing the first. I mean, I know
If maybe
the
if we just
words
strum a few
to it.
chords, he might start to jump in a bit later.
Stand by your man. Give him two arms to cling to. Something warm to come to.
When nights are cold and lonely.
Yes. Stand by your man. And
Tell the world you love him. Keep giving all the love you can. Baby, stand by your man. I'll tell you what, I hope this doesn't go to bloody air, because I said I'll never do that again in my life.
He finally did it. created that moment, Sticks Gurnard. We thought you were never going to do that, but you did it. Can't believe it. Big thanks to Alex Rance leading the boys on their road trip, and also to Lee Kernaghan. He was in the middle of a concert, I think, and he cancelled some dates and came down and did that because he wanted to ride with Alex Rance. Lee Kernaghan's brand new 25th anniversary album is out now. It debuted last week at number 2 on the ARIA charts. This is the brand new CD. He's touring right now, as I said, around the country, and tickets are on sale. Tour dates and details on his website. Thanks very much to Alex Rance, Lee Kernaghan and Sticks Gurnard for reliving that wonderful moment after that grand final. Gee, Norton's was a good hotel. It's a shame it's now apartments. I had some good nights at Norton's too.
Yeah, he did. So did Sticks back in the day. And let's get into his Blues at the moment. Stephen Kernahan's magnificent Carlton Footy Club against the Bombers on the weekend. Should be a ripping game of football. MCG Blues were spirited last week, played a much better game against the D's, and just the one change, Dennis Armfield out of the Carlton side, and Kerrigan comes in and interchange from there on the back end for the Blues, and they take on the Bombers, who are in good form, 2-0. No question at the moment. And Howlett among the outs there for the Bombers, and a bit of experience comes back. Leuenberger, Brown, and also plenty of experience there for the Bombers. The big story in this game will be Zach Merritt, who's the informed player in the competition. Jimmy Bartell, among others, said that he's the best field kick, Brendan. You know his stuff in the midfield kicking. Is he that good?
Come on, Jim. No, he's a star. I've taught him everything he knows. So, yeah, no, I knew from the moment he walked in, he just got footy. You can see when those young kids come in, and they've worked really hard on his game, trains hard, and that's just a reflection, or his game's a reflection of the way he prepares.
Who are you tipping here, Heath?
Yeah, it's obviously a massive game, Carlton and Essendon at the G on Sunday. My old mate Daisy's been copping a little bit in the media, so I hear. I don't get a lot of the media up in Sydney about the footy. Hopefully he bounces back and has a really good game, but I'm going to have to go with Brendan's mob on this one.
Or the Blues?
You know what critics are? Critics are like eunuchs in a harem. They see how it's done, but they can't do it themselves.
Thanks for that analogy.
Oh, critics, seriously. Now, I'm tipping Carlton here. Only to add some balance, because everyone will go for the Bombers. Okay. And just to keep your head on your shoulders and your feet on the ground, I'm tipping Carlton. And if they win, don't worry, I'll crow about it next week.
Beck, who are you tipping?
I'm going the Bombers just because BJ's here. I can't really do that.
Speaking of the Bombers, this vision, which aired on Future Stars on the Nine Network last Sunday, is of Mason Fletcher, Dustin's son, who's playing in the TAC Cup. That is dead ringer for his old man. Have a look at this, BJ. He's going to be draftable next year by the Bombers. You would think you are watching Dustin play.
I've seen him grow up the last 4 or 5 years, and he's grown pretty quickly, as you can see there. I think he stands 198 centimetres, but...
Look at the length of his
legs.
Look
at that. That's
legs,
Dustin.
arms...
Everything.
He's all legs and arms, just like his old man.
The Bombers will take him surely next year. It's exciting, isn't it?
So, yeah, he's obviously eligible, as you were talking about, but I think that was a foregone conclusion to take young Mace.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Dustin almost played with him.
I know. They nearly overlapped.
It would have been incredible, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't that have been incredible? Now, we need to get to the West Coast game. We're going to do that in a minute because Croft is down with a die-hard West Coast supporter, and he also happens to be a champion boxer. Croft, where are you in the crowd tonight? Down with...
Here we are, Beck. We're here with world champion. I'm talking world... We're going global. Danny Green, otherwise known as the Green Machine. Put him up. Thanks for coming on the show. Now, what about West Coast? They're going well. You're very happy with them?
2-0, yeah, they're going well. And we'll be even better when we get the big champ nickname back. So if they're travelling well, but you know, I'm not a huge football expert, obviously, but yeah, they're going well.
Anyway, West Coast took Sam Mitchell, so I'm not very happy with that, but I'm not going to fight you, all right?
He's fit like a glove too, mate.
It's not going to happen. Now, Anthony Mundine wants a rematch. Are you up for it? Can you announce it right now to all the viewers out there and our wonderful audience? Is it going to happen? When's it going to happen? And can I get a free ticket? No. Is it going to happen?
Yeah, won last time, mate. But
did I?
Put me in a room out there with him, no cameras, no money, nothing else, and I'll fight him because I'm a fighter. He's not a fighter. He just wants to get paid. I did what I had to do. He made us wait 10 years, and I did what I had to do, and it's over.
Just just asking the question. Now, you're doing a wonderful thing with Stop the Coward Punch campaign. Now, you're having a gala ball. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, Crawford, it's on the 26th of May. It's at the Palladium, at the Crown, and Crown have been obviously a fantastic support of mine, and once again have come aboard to see the importance of this community campaign. It's just raising money. It's a black tie event. We're going to have some iconic Australian talent there, playing musical talent there, and Darren Postlethwaite next to me has been fantastic in helping run this show, and it's about raising money. I've been carrying the can for nearly 5 years in this campaign and spent a lot of time on it. So we're trying to raise some more money just to put more money into advertising, because it's very important that the young guys in this country, from the ground up, from kids up, and not just young, old guys as well, know that if you're going to attack someone for no reason or for very little reason and kill, maim or seriously injure someone, or not even injure them, just knock them out, and they live to fight another day, but for no reason whatsoever, you're going to be branded a coward. And that's a very, very powerful thing, and the community are starting to jump on board with this, and I want to kind of get a movement going within the youth of the country that violence, especially unnecessary violence, isn't the way to go. And this is what we're doing. We're trying to raise money to get the awareness out there, and you guys, the Footy Show, have been fantastic.
You're doing a wonderful thing, Danny Green. All the details were on the screen, so get yourself involved. Well done. And if Anthony Munden doesn't want to take you on, maybe he'll take you on at any... I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Champ. The champ is here. The champ is in the house.
Hug it out. Hug it out. Thank you very much, Croft. Some very, very wise words there from champion boxer Danny Green. Yeah, stop the coward punch. It's unnecessary. A lot of young people are getting hurt and dying, actually. So thanks very much, Danny, for putting all your efforts into that wonderful cause. Let's go to Richmond and West Coast, Saturday, MCG, in the afternoon. It's a 2:10 game. Out goes Edwards and Griffiths for Richmond. In comes Elton and McIntosh for the West Coast side. Not many changes. In comes Jeddah, an important inclusion there. The Tigers 2-0 for only the second time since 1997. So the Richmond Footy Club are travelling very nicely indeed. And it is due to... Well, not just one man. Cochin's been playing pretty well as well, but the one man that everyone's been looking at lately is Dusty Martin. He got a fractured eye socket last week, a big black eye, played out the remainder of the game. He tried on a helmet, I think, at training this week. I think his captain tweeted a picture of him.
One of your favourites,
Not quite sure if Dusty will go to helmet or not. In fact, I don't even know if the helmet would actually help your fractured eye socket, would it, Croft?
Well,
probably not.
Maybe give you a little bit of confidence to get in there and get it, but he is on fire. I'm loving Richmond winning at the moment. It's better for the competition when the Tigers are up and about, but I've got a feeling West Coast are really going to turn one on this week.
Yeah, it's, Richmond have been really, really good this year, playing some exciting football, and Dusty's in amazing form, but I'm going to go with Crawf. I think West Coast make the chip to G and have a win.
Contrary to everyone else, I'm going to pick the Tigers.
I was scouring some of the chat shows, and someone asked the West Coast Eagles coach, would they be targeting Dustin's fractured cheek, and he magnanimously said he wouldn't be. Well, of course you wouldn't be, because you're not allowed to hit people in the head, are you?
No.
So what would be the point of asking someone that?
Back in your day, what would you do?
Punch him in the head again, what?
Back in your day, what would have happened?
We would have punched him in the head. I wouldn't have, but someone...
I don't think Danny wants to hear that. Danny will come and sort you out on that.
Danny would have come and punched him in the head. No. And I don't think that wouldn't be a coward's punch,
Only
Danny,
in the ring.
Because he would be running at him and he'd know that he's going to get rat-a-tat-tat.
Beck, who are you tipping?
Dusty, Richmond.
Tigers? Yep. All right, so the Tigers in good form, 2-0. Plenty more to come ahead on The Footy Show.
Welcome back to The Footy Show. Thank you very much to Home Timber and Hardware. Go where the tradies go. Chemist Warehouse, the home of real brands and real savings. Telstra, stream it live, fast and data-free. And Sportsbet, download the mobile app today.
Yep, and with Sportsbet, you get the new same game multi. You can now jump on the Sportsbet app and place an AFL multi within the same game of footy. Check it out. Same game multi last week. One punter took Sportsbet to the cleaners. $10 on Cotchin to kick the first goal.
Sorry, Phil.
Oscanelli to kick 3 or more, and the total match points under, which returned, get this, $25,000 in the same game multi last weekend. To get involved, download the app and always gamble responsibly.
Okay, North Melbourne taking on the GWS Saturday in Tasmania, of all places. Out goes Thompson through suspension, taking a look at the North Melbourne side, and out goes Simpkin with a quad. In comes big Todd Goldstein and Sam Durden, due to play his first game. Over the page to GWS. They're playing pretty good footy. No changes whatsoever there. Now, the big story out of this, well, actually, the big story was made by you, Craig Hutchison, out of this, and you put Leon Cameron under the microscope. Yes, you did.
That's not fair.
Yeah, you did,
You
Hutchie.
did.
You said, and I quote, is Leon Cameron capable of driving the Ferrari underneath him?
Yep, I said.
You said that. Yep.
I said that for the first time we're going to find out, because the pressure's on the Giants this year, whether he's driving a Ferrari, whether he is the man to drive the Ferrari going forward.
Heath, he's just referred to you as a Ferrari. What part of the Ferrari are you?
Yeah, I'm an old Ferrari at the moment. No, it's interesting comments, and
Are they wrong or right, those comments?
Leon's a great coach and he's a very good driver, so I'll have him in the driver's seat every day of the week.
It's the first time you've had pressure on you going into this season, isn't it?
Yeah, we've welcomed that pressure. It's a good thing to be sort of recognised as a premiership contender and premiership favourites as well. But our expectations on ourselves are pretty high, and Leon's expectations are pretty high. So we don't shy away from that. And yeah, let's hope the Ferrari has a win on the weekend.
Are you tipping? Shane?
I think the Giants are going to win the flag, so they should be winning this game.
North have put in a couple of good performances and efforts and just fallen short, but I think that GWS will win 2 in a row.
Yep.
Sam?
Yeah, wherever they're playing this game,
Tasmania.
I think. Is that where that is?
It's Tasmania. Heath's never played in Tasmania before.
Hobart.
You've never played in Tassie?
No, I'm looking forward to getting down to Hobart and
Yeah, no,
playing
that'll
down
be
there.
a trip of a lifetime, mate.
Great part
The last time the
great part
Giants
of
played
Australia,
there, they lost by 120 points, isn't that right?
Yeah, I think that was early days, and Phil Davis, he was captain and he tossed the coin. They were kicking with the wind in the first quarter and they were down by 7 goals at quarter time. So
Should have seen the body
wasn't a great
language
start.
that day. Well, anyhow, I think, I don't know about the Kangaroos, pretty good down there.
So you're going to tip that? Let's go with them.
Tipping the Kangaroos down
Okay,
there.
no, I'm going the opposite. I'm going the Giants.
Big game on Sunday at Etihad Stadium, St Kilda and the Brisbane Lions. The Saints much better last week, and they do welcome back Nick Riewoldt to the team this weekend. And for what will be a ripping game of football, Jack Stephen, the big out there, of course, with the injury for the weekend, a squad of 25 against the Brisbane Lions, who have been by and large pretty good. You came up against them last week, BJ. They were good in parts, great in round one.
They were. They towed us up in the third quarter. We got off to a good start and we finished well, but they're very capable of some good things this year, I think, Brisbane.
Yeah, very young team. Good to see Shaki get back in the side, who's an out-of-contract player as well. Who are you tipping?
I'm tipping. I like St Kilda. I thought they were very good last week, and they'll be good this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Lions just because Ben's his captain.
Good to see the big Roo back this week, but yes, with the Saints.
It's a watershed game for St Kilda. I tipped them to make the 8. They could well be, if they don't win this game, win 3 out of the first 11 games. They could lose.
I'm lost.
Who are you now? You
0-3.
Well, if you have a look
you've
at their
turned into
draw,
Mike Sheen
if
or
you
something.
have a
What
look
are you
at
drinking again?
have a look at St Kilda's draw, if they don't win this, they'll
What are you auditioning for a role as an expert on the
They could be
broadcast league?
3 out of 11 if they don't win this
It's like
game.
AFL 360.
And just a shout out to Grant Thomas, who won't like me mentioning his name, but he chaperoned Nick Riewoldt down at his estate down the coast and got him fit enough because he's a saint at heart, the
the
beast.
secret getaway with the former coach?
The beast.
Breaking
Grant Thomas.
stories.
He's
Breaking stories.
He is. He took him down the beach and trained him
Sources
and had
tell
him
you?
running around his property down there. And so he's a St Kilda man through and through. So that's how Riewoldt's back
So
in town.
can we go back to 3 out of 11? What are you going on about?
Oh, no, do we have to go back?
Okay, sorry.
They could only win 3 out of their first 11 games. If you have a look at their draw, if they don't win this game against Brisbane.
Right.
Okay.
Becca, who
you
you tip if they
need
do
Bill's
win?
exclusive hat to wear. You're bringing us so many exclusives tonight. Okay. I'm going to tip the Saints. Yeah.
The ribbon game
The
of
Saints
footy.
for me it is. We're going to take a short break on the Footy Show. We'll be back on the other side.
All the big shows ahead for the weekend. TJ, what a star he's been in the first 2 Sunday footy shows. Up and about. Trent Cotchin, the exclusive guest this Sunday after the West Coast game. Looking forward to the skipper with TJ, Kane Corns, Nash, Matty Lloyd, the five-time, and all the crew. And then footy classified. Caro in great form. Gallardo calling it as he sees it. Gary in sparkling career best form. And a special time, 9:30 Monday. This will be a ripper on 9. And of course, future stars too. This Sunday on the 9 Network as well.
That lady in the crowd there is wearing a unique headband, no bandan. Sam, you came out at the start of the show, you were not happy.
To show the universal support, Phil, our cameraman down, who's televised and filmed us for 25 years and has been here for 50. He's donated his hip flasks and his liquor of choice, which is Midori. And as Dan is playing on Friday, he'll be able to go out with the horse and get hosed on the weekend. So we're drinking all the bit. This is beautiful. Have you ever tried Midori?
You ever never drink
This is what I am
when
drinking.
I was about
I won't drink
16,
that.
I had Midori.
Bloody
It's your first drink in 7 years?
7 years, right?
Oh, look out.
It's not, it's only cordial.
Thanks very much to Shane Crawford, to Heath Shaw,
Come
and
on,
to BJ,
hashtag no
and Sam,
bandan.
and Beck as
Get
well.
on board.
We'll see you next week right here on the Footy Show next Thursday night, and it's right for home.
Enjoy the footy.